Tonight on CTV News, we'll be telling you all about how CSU honored their veterans this past week. Then we will hear about the End the Lies messages spread around the campus.
We will also hear about the reasons for different traffic accidents around Fort Collins and how you can safely find a way home on a night out. All this and more, starting now.
Hello everyone, I'm Kenneth Frederick.
And I'm Jake Oskverick. Larimer County saw more fatal car crashes throughout its highways. Charges are currently pending against the driver of a silver Hyundai Elantra, which was involved in a fatal crash Sunday. The driver of the Hyundai drifted across the road into oncoming traffic on County Road 54G, crashing into a Toyota Sienna headed westbound, killing the passenger and injuring the driver. The passenger was 92-year-old Neva Lamport. The driver was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. According to Colorado State Patrol Trooper Paul Dirks, as of today, charges against the driver are pending, and the driver of the Hyundai was suspected to be under the influence during the time of the collision.
Nearly 60 people in Colorado are arrested every day for impaired driving, according to the Colorado Department of Transportation. Just last Saturday, there were an alarming number of alcohol-related crashes in a 12-hour window. A Larimer County resident, Neva Lippert, was hit and killed in one of these incidents Saturday night. Her death was one of 6 in the 12-hour time frame. These crashes serve as a reminder that people everywhere need to stay safe and make good choices when they drink.
Even if you're feeling even just a little bit tipsy, you need to call a rideshare service. Don't be driving. Just because you can walk doesn't mean you can drive.
Officer Matthew Packard tweeted Sunday morning about his frustrations with all the accidents. He ended his tweet with the statement, "Safety on our roadways is everybody's responsibility. We must be better." Students should be aware of the resources they can use to make sure they aren't the cause of the next DUI crash.
Obviously Ram Ride, which is run by different student orgs each weekend. Each night we have a different student org that's volunteering. We also have the Gold Route, which the Transportation Center offers, which kind of goes around Old Town.
Services like Ram Ride, Uber, and Lyft are all alternatives to getting behind the wheel when drunk.
Just get in a rideshare, take a Ram Ride, grab an Uber or a Lyft. Just make sure you're getting home safely.
Students are clear that this is an issue that affects everyone and not just drunk drivers.
No, just people being aware that, the effect of drunk driving has on everybody else. It's not just about you. You have to be very aware of, how this impacts everybody else around you.
With a series of unfortunate accidents over this last weekend, this is a reminder to stay safe, Rams. If you'd like more information on drunk driving, you can go to codot.gov/safety. On Monday night, a shootout at the Loveland home resulted in the death of a homicide suspect and the injury of a responding officer. According to a news release from the Loveland Police, authorities encountered a female suspect in a homicide case while investigating around 8:30 Monday evening. When members of the Loveland Police SWAT team entered the home of the 3000 block of Chichura Court, after gunfire was exchanged, the woman was pronounced dead at the scene, and a male officer was evaluated and cleared by paramedics after sustaining minor injuries during the gunfire. The 8th Judicial Critical Response Team, or CURT, is taking over the investigation with Larimer County Sheriff as the lead investigating agency. CURT's role is to determine whether the use of force was warranted during the shooting.
Goodwin Knight Development Company has found its way to Fort Collins and hopes to continue the growth of the city with the vision of making life better. This current development would begin on the south end of Fort Collins near Skyway and College. According to Brian Neep, the Vice President of Planning and Community Development for Goodwin Knight, Skyway is proposed for 90 apartments in 2 3-story buildings with a clubhouse. Triangle is a combination of housing types with an additional 200 apartment units. A goal shared by developers and the city to try and keep the rent in those areas low despite the large amount of development and population influx coming to the area. We'll have more on this as it develops. End the Lies messages appeared on the CSU campus warning people about fake pregnancy centers and clinics. According to the End the Lies website, these are facilities that claim to offer pregnancy-related health care and medical services, but prey on women at a vulnerable moment in their lives by pushing medically inaccurate information. The website lists clinics and other centers that meet this criteria in certain areas. In Fort Collins, the Alpha Center, located on South College Street. The executive director of the Alpha Center, Jennifer McLean, said this in response to being listed on the site. For the work we're doing and the commitment we have to our community to be medically accurate and medically based, the expose fake clinics comments seek to undermine that.
In 2017, the former mayor of Windsor, John Vasquez, sued for unlawful arrest and the use of excessive force following his arrest in Tinmouth by 2 police officers on Monday. On Monday, the town of Tinmouth reached a settlement with the former Windsor mayor of $250,000. The city's insurance agreed to pay the settlement, not requiring the payments to come from the budget. Vasquez was on his way home from dinner when he was stopped by the officers and the incident happened. Following an internal investigation, Tinmouth police concluded the officers used excessive force and placed them on administrative leave, per department protocol. One of the officers resigned in 2018, and the other still remains a full-time police department employee. Vasquez was the mayor of Windsor from 2008 until 2016. Beginning around a year from now, veterans in northern Colorado will have a new $17 million outpatient clinic to serve them. The new clinic is located in Loveland, is said to open in 2022, and will double the existing space of the current Fort Collins and Loveland clinics combined. The new facility will offer services such as radiology, x-ray, and dental services for over 21,000 veterans in the Larimer County, while serving 19,000 veterans in Weld County as well. When the new facility opens, the current Fort Collins VA will move operations there. There will be a total of 200 staff on site, able to see 200 patients a day, 85 more than the current Fort Collins and Loveland facilities can see together. We'll have more on this as it develops.
Colorado State University held a national roll call in the plaza on Monday in honor of our fallen veterans since September 11th, 2001.
Sergeant Corey Oltz, U.S. Army.
Monday, November 11th, marked Veterans Day, and to mark the occasion, the Student Veterans Organization and the ALVS hosted the National Roll Call in the plaza.
National Roll Call is a very special day for the CSU community, and we have done this tradition for years. And every year, we make it bigger, better, and more meaningful for the student community, the faculty, the staff, and the partners we have in Fort Collins.
I'm glad that I go to a school that honors its veterans with a roll call.
The roll call is vital in paying tribute to the men and women we have lost. It is important for us to recognize their bravery and the sacrifices they have made.
So for this year, we brought the list of names that is now 7,000 long of veterans who have died since 9/11, 2001. And we read that list from 7 a.m. and finished around 5:30 p.m.
I think I noticed yesterday that when I actually took a moment and just kind of listened to the names being read off, it really does bring it home to you.
It meant you actually got to sit there and read the names of those who have fallen. So you had to put names to these people. They're not just a number at that point.
U.S. Army Reserve.
This emotional event was a great way to honor those who have served in the military. For more information on how you can support the veteran community here on campus, visit alvs.colostate.edu.
It's honestly so great to see that we're honoring our veterans in such a way.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Now, Angel, I hear the Clydesdales are coming to town.
Yes. Budweiser's iconic slice sales have returned home to the brewery experience in Fort Collins. This past weekend, people of all ages made it a point to see the world's famous horses in person.
The Budweiser Clydesdales made their first ever appearance in 1933. Since then, they have been very familiar in television broadcasts and parades. Now the West Coast team is in Fort Collins, hanging out with kids and adults.
They are a big marketing tool for us. So they only come out twice a year, usually about this time of year, and then sometimes in June. We can never guarantee when they're going to be here because their schedule's pretty busy.
I actually called a few weeks ago and the lady said they're supposed to be coming, but watch. And then I heard it on the news, so then I quick went on their site, and it was there.
One thing is for sure, the Clydesdales are bringing people together, a crowd Budweiser looks forward to every go-round.
Maybe a lot of people don't see or realize how big a Clydesdale truly is. You know, when you stand up near it, and I mean, I'm sitting a little over 6 foot, and they're clearly well above me.
Phenomenal. I mean, the draw is unbelievable. The people love these horses. They come from all over, neighboring towns, neighboring states, just to see these horses.
The stable viewings will continue until November 24th. To learn more about the breweries, lining event, and more, you can visit BudweiserTours.com. Don't go anywhere just yet, Rams. Yet we'll have the 4-101 on all things social after the break.
I surrender.
All right, pal.
Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Can I play with it?
No, absolutely not. It's not a toy. You know that. Anyway, I need it to protect you, your sister, and Mom.
But what about the 8 kids who get shot every day by mistake?
Where'd you hear that?
Where do you keep it?
It's hidden.
I bet it's on the top shelf of the closet, under your sweatshirts. Is it loaded? Remember when I found my Christmas gift? You always told me to be curious.
No, that's not what I meant.
And when it's just me and Mom, I could use the gun to protect her.
No, Justin, I promise. I'm always here for you.
But Dad, you're not always here.
What's going on, Rams? And welcome back. I'm Angel Cooper, filling in for Janae Hancock, and I'm here to talk about all things entertainment. So let's get started. It's time to do the downward dog with the dogs. This Sunday, OMKI Yoga is back yet again with the original puppy yoga of Northern Colorado. This furry event supports Bounce Animal Rescue with the price of every participant. The pups will bounce around throughout the entirety of the yoga class. This allows the puppies to socialize and get comfortable around potential adopters. For more information, you can visit omkiyoga.com. If you can't find the perfect coffee or beer mug, Fleeing Pots have you covered. This Sunday, mug making will be at Max Line Brewing starting at 2 in the afternoon. Since the weather is cooling down, it may be time to create the warm mug you always wanted. Be creative and design your own mug that will be fired in the kiln and returned back to you a month later. To learn more, you can visit their Facebook event page at Mug Making at Max Line Brewing. Just how Janae usually does it, it's now time for what's on the feed. So let's get into No New Friends for rap star Drake. The awkward onstage moment of Drake performing at Tyler the Creator's festival controlled our social media feeds this past weekend. The Hold On, We're Going Home rapper may not leave his house for a very long time after this interesting crowd response. Many attendees believed singer Frank Ocean was going to be the special guest, but instead it was Drake. The confusion is definitely real for me, but hey, Drake can always come to Fort Collins. We'll accept you. 2 words, Scooby-Doo. That's right, the Mystery Gang is back in action with their first release trailer of Scoob. The film reveals how the lifelong friends Shaggy and Scooby first met and joined the rest of the crew. But you may spot some new voices in the cinematic return. Zac Efron voices Fred, Amanda Seyfried as Daphne, Gina Rodriguez will voice Velma, and Will Forth will remain the voice of Shaggy. Together, the group will face the biggest mystery of ever, unleashing the ghost dog surface upon the world. Our childhood is set return to the screen in May 2020. Well, Rams, that's all the entertainment I have for you tonight. Stay tuned after the break. Winds Westward will let us know if we'll see warmer temperatures this week.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Bye-bye. Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back from the breaks, Rams. I'm your weather anchor, Ren Wadsworth, and here is your weekly weather forecast. Starting off with how the weather looked earlier today. Things are heating back up in Fort Collins, and that winter weather is finally melting away. While temperatures were cooler with only a high of 53, the sun was out all day and students could be seen on campus sporting lighter jackets. However, the sun wasn't enough to melt away everything, and ice and piles of snow could still be seen scattered around CSU's campus and especially on the Laurie Student Center Plaza. As we move into what the weather looks right now, it's going to be 39 degrees, and even though it was cooler today, now that the sun has set, it has gotten colder thanks to the sunset moving earlier and earlier into the day thanks to daylight savings time. Now that winter is finally on its way, that means shorter days and colder nights. As we move into tonight's lows, we can see that that is elevated in across the state. Starting in Fort Collins, it's going to be 34 degrees, 38 degrees going down the I-25 corridor in Denver, 36 degrees in Colorado Springs, and the lowest in Pueblo at 24 degrees. You'll see that the mountainside of the state is going to be colder, but that is to be expected. The coldest temperatures across the state are going to be Gunnison and Alamosa at 11 and 10 degrees. If we take a look at tomorrow's expected temperatures, it's going to look a little similar to what it was today, but higher temperatures. That high is going to be 57 tomorrow instead of 53 like it was today. It's going to be sunny and cool and less chance of rain and slighter chances of breeze. If we look at tomorrow's highs across the state, you're going to see that reflected as well. Highs in the low 60s and high 50s. Going down the I-25 corridors once again, Fort Collins is going to be 57, 58 in Denver. Colorado Springs at 60 and the high across the state in Pueblo at 64. Again, that plain side of the state is going to be a lot warmer, but that is to be expected. If we look at the 5-day forecast, temperatures are going to fluctuate throughout the week. Starting on Wednesday, again, that high of 57. Thursday, high of 53, dropping it down a little bit. Both days are going to be sunny. As you move into Friday, though, it's going to be a little bit cloudier. That cloud coverage is going to come in, but the temperatures are still going to rise. As you go into your game day weekend on Saturday, it's going to be 59 degrees. Again, cloud coverage is coming in. And on Sunday, it's going to be 61 degrees. That's all I have for you tonight, but tune in next week to see if we can expect the fluctuating weather to continue into the end of November. But stay tuned because after the break, Ethan and Sydney will have a preview of the men's basketball game versus Omaha.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back to the Red Zone. I'm Ethan Bird.
And I'm Sydney Wicker. With CSU hosting Air Force this weekend, the Rams have been putting in some work, and having the bye was key for them last week.
The schedule every year, but you'd have a bye week before Air Force, or you'd hope to have them first, play them first, where you could really spend some time and work on this. Yeah, we work on it in spring, we work on it in fall camp, but your total focus on that game, I think, is huge, and that's what we've been, working on. Defense just primarily worked Air Force all last week. Offense did a little bit more fundamentals and technique of just playing your position, not necessarily schematically. We did a little bit on Thursday, but for our defense, it's been all, game planning for Air Force and what we need to do.
Now this game is going to be on prime time on ESPN2 at 5 in the afternoon on Saturday. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on the Rams, and my eyes are going to be on the Rams and Air Force offense. And this is going to be a huge offensive game. And my two guys for the CSU offense are Warren Jackson and Patrick O'Brien. Here they are connecting in the game. These two have just such a great connection. Patrick O'Brien has gone for triple-digit yardage and passing all 7 of his starts on the season. And Warren Jackson has had triple-digit receiving yards his last 4 games. And when they connect, plays happen. Here's Warren Jackson evading defenders off of a great pass from Patrick O'Brien. But the thing the Rams have to look out for is the Air Force red zone defense. And they have been unreal efficient. 36 for 40 in red zone trips this year. 31 of those have been touchdowns. And the big part of that is that triple option offense. When your defensive backs are backed up in the end zone, it's hard for them to know when and where to react. And with the triple action being so quick, there isn't a whole lot of time to react, and that's why they score so efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about the offense a lot, but the defense is going to be the struggle for both teams, I think, in this game. Looking at CSU's defense, they've struggled all year, but so has Air Force's. Here in this game against Navy, the Air Force Falcons really struggled being able to slow Navy down. They were able to compete with them quite a bit throughout the game, but just being able to make an efficient stop and really wrap those guys up has been a big struggle. And that's also been something that the Rams have struggled with. They can't make efficient tackles and they can't stop players. When they took on New Mexico, they let that team come back and really play with them hand in hand. So they were constantly competing. They should have beat New Mexico by a ton. But the fact that they let them play and let them come back in certain areas kind of just shows how that Rams defense isn't fully there yet. They need to make more efficient stops, and they need to be better on that defense to allow the offense to not necessarily have to work as much. Absolutely. And kind of with the exception of the game against UNLV, the Rams defense always seems to lose gas in that second part of the game. And that's something, like you said, that cannot happen against Air Force because of how Troy Calhoun absolutely conditions these guys. These guys, I mean, not only are they in the military, but they're on Troy Calhoun's team, which from what I've heard sometimes can be almost worse. And Calhoun, I mean, is a legendary coach. He's got the experience. Absolutely. The Rams will have to they'll have to stay taut. Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see what happens between those two teams. I know Logan Stewart was one guy that's really been killing it for the Rams. He had 11 tackles in that New Mexico game, and he's been doing really well throughout the season. But we'll have to see how both of them come out and compete. And like you said, Troy Calhoun, he's got his team disciplined. And that Air Force team, they actually have an 82.2 winning percentage so far in that game. So it looks like it's in the Falcons' favor so far, but we'll have to see what happens. I never trust Vegas. Anyway. Well, we'll have to see. The Rams basketball team picked up their first loss of the season at Cameron Indoor to the number 4 ranked Duke Blue Devils, but the team had nothing to be ashamed of, and it is all eyes ahead for their game tomorrow against Omaha.
We play Omaha on Wednesday at home, and there's 30 games, whatever on your schedule, and win or lose, you got to learn from what you can and move on. And I think they will. This group is coachable, and I think they want to get better. And they'll realize as the season went on that this will help them a lot more than they realize even today. I know that.
Yeah, and looking at this Omaha game, the key player to really look out for is their senior guard, JT Gibson. Gibson had a triple-double in the Mavericks last game, and last season he went on an 11-game double-double streak and was contributing an average of 12 points per game. Not only can Gibson get the buckets, but he also is key with assisting his teammates. The Mavericks have one loss on the season so far, but they've been on a 2-game winning streak, so we'll have to see what happens when the Rams host them.
Absolutely, and 2 key freshmen received very valuable experience at Duke that will help them find their own and lead this team. And those guys are David Roddy and Isaiah Stevens. Roddy is a 6'5" forward. He had 12 points at Duke, and then there's Stevens, who's a 6-foot guard, also had 12 points at Duke, but he's shooting 5 for 9 on threes on the season. And the kid's a shooter, and he's got a lot of room to grow, especially learning from Hiron Edwards. But I'm a big David Roddy guy. I believe in David Roddy. I mean, here's him throwing down an absolutely massive dunk at Duke. I mean, what can any young basketball player dream of than to dunk at Cameron Indoor Stadium? David Roddy got to do that, and I think his future at CSU is very bright, and I think he'll show out against Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to see him continue throughout the season because let me tell you, I was there and watching him dunk at Duke was pretty incredible. They started calling him Air Roddy, so I think it's pretty funny. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, pretty neat.
I hope that sticks. I want to say that for another 4 years.
Me too. But Moby's going to be packed this week as the now 12th ranked CSU volleyball team is back home to take on Utah State and Boise State. So Ethan, who's on your volleyball watch list?
Starting with Utah State, I have junior hitter Bailey Downing. Bailey Downing has been a bright spot for a struggling Utah State team who has only 2 wins on the season, and she has 19.5 more points than the next leading scorer on Utah State. But the funny thing is that between Brianna Runnels, Kiersey Hillier, and Hogart Jensen, the 3 of them have more points combined than the top 6 scorers on Utah State. It might be another sweep in Moby on Thursday night.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel bad for those Aggies, but we'll have to see what happens. Another key player to look out for the Rams is libero Alexa Romeliotis. She will be key for shutting down the Aggies' outside hitters. She is hitting 50% in the matches and has been really quick around the court. Romeliotis had 17 digs in the Rams' last game, and she's also played in all the Rams games so far this season. She's always someone you really have to watch out for. But looking at Saturday's game, it's senior day in Moby Arena. The Rams will host Boise State in their final regular season home game. And looking at the Broncos roster, Boise State freshman Lauren Olinger is leading her team across the board. With 272 kills on the season and 818 total attacks, the outside hitter is one of Boise State's strongest players. In their last game against the New Mexico Lobos, Olinger finished the game with 21 kills and helped hold the Lobos to 15.7 hitting percentage.
And on the other side of the net from her will be Katie Oleksak, and this is her swan song. This is her possibly final game at Moby Arena, hopefully not, but Katie has really just been showing why she was voted the preseason All-Mountain West Player of the Year. 910 assists, 60 kills as a setter is always huge, 169 digs as a setter. She does it all for this Rams team. The offense flows through her, this team flows through her, and she's been an absolute leader for this team. Keep an eye out for her to do one final thing for Ram fans to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really hoping she shows out so maybe she can get 1,000 assists. I think that would be so cool for her.
That'd
but looking at those seniors having their final game in Moby, I think they'll have a little bit of motion, but of course they do have the tournament that they'll be going to for sure, and we'll have to see how they do in that. But I know when I was a senior in high school and it was my last game, it was so emotional for me. So I'm really sad for these girls because they've really shown what it's like to be a team and to contribute together. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they play in their final games at home.
One thing to really look out for these Rams is that RPI. Right now they're ranked 18th in RPI, and if they get to 16th on Saturday, won't be the final game at Moby because they could be hosting the first round of the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. But now, Ethan, it's time for Tell Me I'm Stupid. So, will I be calling you stupid this week?
Sydney, I really hope you're not, but Tell me I'm stupid, but Larry Walker should absolutely, without a doubt, be voted into the Hall of Fame this winter.
You know, Ethan, I really think you're onto something here.
Oh, yeah?
All right.
I really have to agree with you. I mean, why not?
Well, and that's absolutely right. I mean, the biggest thing against Larry Walker is that he played 10 seasons at Coors Field, but that's a bunch of baloney. I don't believe in it. He has 72.7 career WAR. Only 10 right fielders in all of the Hall of Fame have something higher than that. MVP, 7 Gold Gloves, 3 batting titles, 3 Silver Sluggers, 5 All-Star games. In that MVP season, 1997, was one of the best seasons a Rockies player has ever had. Like, just take a look at some of these highlights by Larry. That's just something that all Rockies fans will remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And he hit .278 on the road, which is 33 positions higher in the Hall of Fame. So I absolutely think that this guy does deserve it. And plus, he was a lefty, which is so cool. Got to give the guy credit. I mean, I'm all about it.
Well, there's only 6 weeks until the vote right now. Last year, he had 54.6% of the vote. He needs 75%. You got to reach out to those BBWAA writers and let them know that Larry Walker should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to see what happens. But Rams, that's all the time we have for you this week. But to stay updated on sports throughout the week, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at sports_CTV. I'm Sydney Wicker.
And I'm Ethan Bird. But tune back in tomorrow night for Ram Life Entertainment, where Justin Rios and Alexa Cordero taste test some pumpkin spice lattes. You don't want to miss it. Until next week, have a great night, Rams.